morning, Abuja. Good morning, Nigeria. Good morning, Africa. Welcome to Good Morning Africa here on Housing TV Africa, your one-stop station for news and updates from the housing sector. I am Dorcas Chia, and it's a beautiful morning here in the studio with my colleague.
Hello Nigeria, hello Abuja. You are watching Good Morning Africa on Housing TV Africa, your favorite station. My name is Confidence Ruben.
Yeah. And it's very good to have you today.
Same here.
Confidence Ruben in the studio with me once again on this show.
How are you doing this morning, Dorcas?
I'm doing okay. I'm doing good.
I just asked you for asking sake because obviously you're doing okay.
All right.
You look like someone that is in charge of our country's economy. Show me
Please,
the way.
don't start that.
Show
don't
us the
don't
way.
start that, please. No, not today. Don't start that. We can talk about this off air, but not now.
All right.
Okay. So I just want us to talk a little bit on something that is happening in the country
yeah.
at large. Of recent, over the weekend, we've been seeing news of insecurity, most especially in Benue State. You know, people were killed over 200 people were killed.
That's very,
Headers went, burnt houses, killed people in broad daylight. And not just that, on a general note, before then, we've been having, issues of insecurity in other parts of the country.
Yeah.
And let's just say this particular incident just blew up the whole thing and made it more prominent.
This one was kind of, it caught the attention of most Nigerians, even outside Nigeria.
Yes.
I think, was it of yesterday, the General Secretary of United Nations, Antonio Guterres, he was like, they really need to look into these recent killings in Nigeria, especially Benue State. Don't forget, Plateau State is also there.
Yes.
But it seems Benue State is that of rampant.
Yes.
It is very, very obvious. So the Secretary of United Nations was like, the issue is beginning to go out of hand. They need to step in. They need to do thorough investigation to really know what exactly is instigating this social menace. I mean, it is a social menace.
If it's something that can be solved by dialogue, let's know.
Exactly.
It's something that we have to trash out, let's work on it.
I've sat down to think what exactly prompted these killings of, people in Benue State and Plateau State. What exactly is the problem? Is it that these people derive joy in taking lives just like that? Or is there an issue? Is there a problem that needs to be, you sit down, have a dialogue, look for a way forward to amend or to, profess solutions rather than taking laws into your hands, taking lives. I'm still trying to
even if someone has offended you, it doesn't give you the right to kill a life, to take a life because you have not created one. And I think why this one is even rampant is because I feel maybe Benin State is known to be, to be relatively peaceful.
That's another thing that
they hardly have this kind of issue, but
it's kind of rare. It's unusual.
Then it just happened, and it has been happening over time,
but not this
with the way it's coming right now. Well, all these questions we are asking, we're not security experts, and I'm glad we are having this conversation right now, and we are going to be breaking the day with these particular topics. We're going to be knowing exactly what is the issue in the state. Why are we having insecurity issues reoccurring, not just in Benue State, but in every other part of the state? We're going to look closely, dissect this issue, look at the causes, and definitely see ways we could profile solutions or suggest or even look for a way forward. So on today's episode, we are going to be looking into the issue of insecurity in our country. Why is it becoming so rampant? Why is it rising every day and every day? But before we go into that discussion, let's move over to the I Can Make It segment and receive a charge for the day. Stay tuned and we shall be right back.
Good morning, viewers. It's a great privilege to be here. My name is Emmanuel Aromesani. I'm a HR and enterprise development consultant, and I've worked for about 18 years, and I began consulting since 2010, 2011, 14, 15 years ago, and I've had the privilege of mentoring and training a lot of young people. Today, we're going to be discussing an amazing subject, and our subject will be built around the subject and the caption, I can make it. I can make it. You can make it. We all can make it. The market is large, opportunity is overwhelmingly available for everyone to make it. But today let's look at how can you make it? What are the requirements? What are the processes? What does it mean for one to say boldly, I can make it? What does it even mean by that word, I can make it? It simply means a mindset that is set to achieve. It means a declaration made. It means a commitment put at the table in pursuit of success. A focused individual, young or old, schooled or unschooled, once your mind is set, a declaration is made, and commitment is put at the table, or whatever you intend to do, or you find your hands to do, and you put in your best, then you are the person who qualifies to declare without any boundary, without no limitations, that you can make it. I can make it, you can make it. And so we'll look at this clearly. I'm a Christian, and so I'll bring the perspective of Scripture just to lay a good foundation. Proverbs 23:7 says, as a man thinks, so he is, very clearly. Everyone who has the confidence and the courage and the requisite preparations and resources to declare that I can make it must have the mindset, well placed, well filled with every knowledge, information, and everything that requires to want to declare that I can make it in a particular field. It is important to also state that mindset is important. What you think is important. But I will always say to as many people I have opportunity of training and mentoring that you can't give what you don't have. And so it's important to begin from the place of what does it require for everyone to get to the point where they can boldly say, I can make it. Or as Philippians 4, verse 13 said, I can do all things. You can if you are ready. The question is, what does it take to be ready? Number one, we'll look at these 3 preparatory steps. Do you have a clear idea that you want to run to be able to get all that you want to achieve on that pedestal, on that path? So the first thing is having a clear idea, a clear path or purpose, because idea gives birth to purpose, and purpose gives birth to vision. And so anyone who must achieve must first of all have an idea that an idea on which ground you are going to succeed and then achieve whatever you want to succeed with. And so number one, idea. Number two, purpose must be clear. Purpose is the reason for being. And so if you don't have your purpose clearly understood and discovered, then you may not be able to say clearly that you are going to make it. People who have made it in life have a clear idea they work with. They have a clear purpose that have been discovered, and they have a path that is clear vision, because idea gives birth to purpose, purpose gives birth to vision, and then vision gives birth to mission, core values, as the case may be. Today is not the day for that. But so you must first of all fill your mind with that idea, carry out what we call have a concept of what you want to achieve. And so if you must make it, then you must have the mindset ready, the purpose discovered, the vision clearly stated as a picture of the future to where you see yourself in the next 5, 10, 15 years. Can you make it? Is dependent on what quality of preparations you have made. And let's look at the key preparations you need to make. You have to set clear goals on the part of vision. You have to develop a growth mindset. People who have made it in life have a growth mindset. They are not working by assumption, by speculations. They work with deliberate preparation, deliberate pursuit and focus in the path of what they intend to achieve. And so if you are listening to me here, viewers, one thing is key, is that everyone can make it, because the market is so large and wide. But one thing that must be clear, do you have a clear goal in mind? The vision clearly stated. And then do you have a growth mindset? And then number 3, have you built resilience and perseverance? Number 3, have you surrounded yourself with positive influencers? People who are promoters, people who can tell you, go, you can do it. I did it, you can do it. No expert around the world, the best of professionals around the world, did not just make it by themselves. They have influencers around them, promoters around them that supported them to pursue their goal in life. And so today I'm telling you clearly that you can make it because I am making it as I'm talking to you. And so I've gone through, grow through the ladder of career. And I'm here today to encourage you that you can make it. These are the clear steps. And then you must have practical tips you learn from people who have gone ahead of you. And that brings me to the point of mentoring and apprenticeship. Okay, if you don't enroll for apprenticeship, you are not qualified for mentorship. If you must make it, you must have people that have gone ahead of you that you take after, that you go for counsel, that you go for a guide, a compass that lead you into the future that you have not been, but that you are pursuing, to achieve. And so you can make it. I can make it. That's what our mind must be set on. It's not about I don't have the resources, I don't have. Everything is not about money. Everything begins with a mindset. Everything begins with studying and preparing and gathering information through research purposes. Now it's easy to get information with the aid of AI and the internet. And so I encourage every young man, every young woman, young or old. Age is not a barrier, age is a number. Go out there, get ready, knowing at the back of your mind that you can make it. Because I will make it, you will make it. And that is very clear. And I'd like to let you know, let's look at those who have achieved success in time past. What are the things that we can learn from them? Very thing is that they take calculated risk. Everything in life is a risk. Whatever you want to become, whatever you want to achieve, get ready to take calculated risk. But having it at the back of your mind that except you start, you can't finish. Except you start, you can't finish. And I'd like to end with this quote. Okay? I'd like to end with this quote. And it stays, according to Theodore Roosevelt, he said, believe you can and you are halfway there. If you believe you can, you are halfway there. This is very important and you must never forget that. Don't watch the clock. Do what it does. You don't keep saying I'll do it tomorrow. Don't procrastinate. Don't wait until all the circumstances are perfect before you get started. You get started. If you look at the work clock, one thing is sure that you familiarize yourself with the work clock is that it keeps ticking one step at a time. You are sick, it's ticking. You are not okay, it's ticking. If you can do what the work clock is doing, keep moving. Consistency is the name of the game. And that's what Sam Livingston made us to understand. Winston Churchill also made that very clear, that if you continue, then every step will count. I thank you very much because I'm still going to have an opportunity to come back. Don't forget, you can make it. And because you can make it, we all can together become a strong force for positive change. Thank you very much. My name remains Emmanuel Aramesani. It's an honor and privilege to share my thought with you. Have a beautiful day. Thank you.
Visit Housing TV Africa on YouTube and click on the subscribe button. Subscribe to Housing TV Africa to stay updated on latest happenings in Nigeria's housing sector. Follow our social media pages, like and share our posts. On Facebook, Housing TV Africa. On Twitter, Housing TV Africa. Instagram, Housing TV Africa. Join the conversation and keep up with latest housing updates.
Welcome back. You haven't missed anything if you are just joining us on Good Morning Africa this morning on Housing TV Africa. Today we'll be discussing a vital topic that says security crisis, addressing Nigeria's escalating insecurity challenges. Insecurity these days in our country has become something that is beyond what we fathom. We are trying to figure out the exact purpose or reason why this has become how it is today. I will also be addressing this challenge and also preferring solutions, because it's one thing for us to identify this social problem, this social menace, and it's another thing for us to prefer solutions, because we can't continue like this. Now, before we introduce our guest that will be analyzing this topic with us, let's give you an excerpt of what the topic entails. Nigeria is confronted with numerous security challenges, ranging from terrorism to banditry and secessionist agitation. In the northern region, the scourge of Boko Haram terrorists persists, while in the southern parts, movements like the Biafra agitation in the southeast and the Yoruba Nation agitation in the southwest add to the complex security landscape. Now, Pertaining the recent killings in Benue State and Plateau State, growing number of Nigerians on social media are demanding that the federal government declare a state of emergency in Benue State following the killing of a reported number of 200 people in a 2-day rampage by suspected herders. This morning, we'll be addressing Nigeria's escalating insecurity challenges as well as preferring solutions to this societal ill with our amiable guests in the studio. He is a public analyst and goes by the name Godon Atai. Good morning, Godon Atai.
Good morning. Thank you for having me.
Thanks for joining
You're welcome
us.
to Housing TV Africa. Good morning, Africa. You're welcome to the program, sir.
You're
Thank
welcome.
Thank you.
So how are you doing? How is the country treating you?
Well, the country is not treating me differently.
Okay.
This is a time that we have to, it's a challenging time
Very, very.
for everybody, both the elites and the masses. So, well, we are coping. Nigerians have been coping.
Have been coping.
Yeah.
We have this adjusting mechanism.
True.
We adjust to any form
said
of
this
situation we
last time.
find
Yeah.
ourselves.
That's what we can do.
Right?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So let's start with the definition of the word insecurity. Insecurity in general terms. What does it mean, insecurity?
Well, we first of all start with security.
Okay.
When you are secured, when you have that feeling of security, when your interest is protected,
Okay.
like security of life, security of property, security of the environment, and so on. Then when one or more of these indicators is taken out, then there is insecurity.
Okay.
For example, like the case in Benue State, people came in and slaughtered people. That is a gross state of insecurity.
Insecurity. Yeah.
Yeah. So we can now say that insecurity now is in a state where the life and property is not safe. And that is insecurity. That means that the ecosystem there does not provide for, does not cater for the interests of the people, or for life, or for property, or for anything. So anything happens, it's a state of chaos, a state of anarchy.
Okay, all right, sir. So you, as a citizen of the country, having heard of this, and I'm sure I don't want to say I'm sure, but you may even have maybe know someone, a friend, or a relative that may have experienced this issue, a case of insecurity, and where they were harmed in the process, be it that of herders, unknown gunmen, kidnapping, or whatsoever. And for you, what will you attribute all this to? What will you say is the sole cause of this?
Well, there are so many things that contribute to this kind of situation.
Okay.
We may not be able to exhaust all, but we take a few that we can. For example, it could be caused by the harsh economy.
Okay.
It could also be caused by maybe religious fanaticism. It could be caused by maybe, there are so many things. I'll take these two. Now, for example, you were traveling along the way, somebody stopped you, like the popular one that I have come to hear in Abuja, said, one chance.
One chance, yeah.
And you are taken to somewhere and robbed. And then, another day, we hear of somebody has been kidnapped. There must be a root cause to this. Either that the economy is not providing for the welfare of its citizen, that is, in other words, either that the government has relaxed
Okay.
in its delivery of good governance, or providing a conducive environment for life to go on, or that there are some feed columnists or third parties that are somewhere trying to mastermind insecurity in order to present that government as ineffective So many things happen. So, but whatever it is, nobody is happy when somebody dies,
Exactly.
when somebody is like mowed down, when houses are burnt, when people are slaughtered. Is a state that everybody must be concerned. Yeah.
Despite the causes you've just stated out, there is no justification for anyone to
There is
indulge in violence,
There is none.
be it the harsh economy, poverty, religious, whatever. There is no justification for that. All right, so let's discuss how insecurity has affected daily life and economic activities in Nigeria. You know, judging with the recent killings in Benue State and Plateau, how has this affected the daily lives and economic activities of Nigerians presently as a whole?
Well, let's start from what happens to day-to-day living. I remember a few years ago, I came to Abuja on a visit. I went to the market, and there is this measurement that they use here. They call mudu.
Mood,
Yeah.
And beans, a mudu of beans was, I think, 350 naira. That's just about
That was the
4 or 5 years ago.
okay.
But today, you're talking of almost 2,000 naira.
More than
So that affects the life of the people.
that's true.
The same thing goes with other commodities and farm produce. Now, in my own investigation, I discovered that it is not that Nigerians don't farm anymore.
Okay.
But what happened is that in some cases, farmers could not access their farms anymore.
That's true.
They could not bring the farm produce to the market. Then, on the other hand, there's high cost of transportation.
Okay.
That to bring goods or farm produce from the farming communities to the cities, it becomes a very big challenge. So with this, you see, there must be a rising cost of living.
Okay.
Yes. And where somebody is unable to bring food, you see, this thing is a chain.
Yeah.
Somebody tries to bring food, somebody stops him. And the man waiting here could not have the food to eat. And so you see, the insecurity has affected the farm, the chain.
Distribution.
Yes,
Yeah.
those value chains that ought to come to the market, they are not there,
It's been
and that
disrupted.
causes a rise in demand.
Yeah.
The demand here in the cities have become so high,
Very high.
whereas the supply is so
Very
short.
low. Yeah.
Then on the other hand, the people down there are unsafe. Then what happens to the next farming season? If they cannot farm, then that means by next year, there might be famine. So insecurity has affected every fabric of the society. It has affected the economy. It has affected education, because there are so many places that people don't go to school. For example, 2 months ago, I happened to have visited a place called Katsinala in Benue State. And I discovered that some communities have abandoned their schools
Yeah. Because of
for so long.
insecurity.
Those schools are now overgrown with weeds. Nobody goes to school. And I saw in some communities teenagers of around 14 who have not visited school for the past maybe 3-4 years. And then what future do we think waits for this kind of children when they don't go to school? And why do they not go to school? Because of insecurity. And their parents cannot afford to send them to the cities. So you see how it has affected education. The same thing, it has affected healthcare delivery.
Okay.
Some health centers are abandoned.
That's true.
Nobody visits. And you see, if there be any outbreak of epidemic, it will be very fatal.
Very, very.
So this thing is something you cannot, they are interwoven.
Yeah.
Yes,
They work
where
hand in
there is
hand.
no security of life and property, I mean that community does not have, they will face an uncertain future.
Okay.
Yes.
Yes, before you say what you
All
want to
right,
say,
okay.
you talked about disruption in the value chain of distribution. That is when it comes to food
Yeah,
security.
yeah.
I want to add to that, there's a popular saying that says a hungry man
It's an
is
He's
an
an
angry
angry
man.
man.
Now, when some of these individuals or Nigerians don't get to eat, or they can't go to their farm to cultivate and harvest and all that, they will resort to other means of survival, because
Yeah.
there are so many people that their means of surviving is in farming. So when they don't get to do it, definitely they have to resort to other ways of surviving, which could be in terms of violence,
Terms of
insecurity,
armed
going
robbery,
around, that's exactly, armed robbery and all
kidnapping,
that.
and so on.
So just see what you want to say.
All right. Okay. So I just want to us to look at how the government has handled this over the years.
Okay.
We have had issues of security. Let me see, as far back as 6 years or even 10.
Yeah, it's
more.
not
And
new.
I can even remember the issue of the Chibok girls, and till today we have not brought back all the Chibok girls.
No.
Maybe after a year or two you begin to hear that some people a particular girl, one of the Chibok girls, was escaped and now she has returned. We've had incidences like that, and for me, I like to think that the issue of insecurity has not been handled so well in the country. And but I would love to know your thoughts. Will you also agree with me that it has not been handled so well? And if it hasn't been handled so well by government, why do you think successive governments that have come and gone have not been able to tackle this issue of insecurity? Because it's something that has been going on for a while. It didn't just start. The issue of Benue State experiencing this kind of killings and everything did not just start from today. We've had issues that were just coming up, just looking very little, but they were coming up. So why has this been handled over? Let's know your thoughts, sir.
Well, I will start from here. You see, security of life and property is not something that we politicize on.
Okay.
I saw your mission statement there. The last part says progress starts from listening,
Okay.
and then from everybody acting together. I'm not quoting it correctly, but that is everybody acting together. You listen, you act, everybody acts. And so the problem of security, or the challenge of security, or the duty of providing for, providing security of life and property should not be a one-man business.
Okay.
Everybody
Should be
is
involved.
involved and must be involved, both the government and the people. Who provides the intelligence, the information to the government is the people.
Yeah.
Now, the government also must have it as a sacred duty of protecting the life and property of its citizens. It may mean stepping on toes. You must have administrative and political will to bend some people. We can ask these people that cause this mayhem, this security challenge, these terrorists, do they live in heaven?
They don't.
They are among us.
Yeah, that's true.
Do they eat? Yes.
Of course, they're human.
Where do they have the weapons that they use? Somebody must be supplying them. Somebody must be sponsoring them. Who gives them food to eat where they are in the forest? Some people must be doing that. Then if it is true, then that means that government must go to the root of the matter to know who are these people, who are the sponsors of terror. When we discover them, then we must not play with them. They must not be sacred cows, because the life of the citizen is very sacred.
Very, very.
Yes. So we must go out and, adopt both orthodox and unorthodox means to get to the root of the matter. Arrest them. If they be, no matter how highly placed that person may be, he's not greater than God. He's not greater than any nation. It is the sacred duty of the government or the public office holders to do something that will create confidence.
That's true.
not this confidence.
Okay.
No, bro, that's on a lighter note.
Okay.
So talking
No,
about
confidence,
yes.
that the people have confidence in that government.
Yeah.
Yes. For example, the American government. I remember once one American citizen was kidnapped, I think in Niger Republic, and hidden somewhere in Nigeria.
Yeah, I heard of
The
it.
government had to move.
Exactly.
They sent in some Marines to trace and rescue that one person. That shows how responsible that government is. So it also shows responsibility on the part of the citizens. So every one of us is involved.
Okay.
If I know that some people in my streets are behaving in a questionable way, I ought
Suspicious.
to report to the authority,
The authority, yeah.
so that they can now go in to find out what is happening. Then the authority, when you receive such report, you must act. You don't delay.
Okay.
So it's everybody's business.
Yeah, before you come in, still on
no
that
problem, you can
security, let's talk about the responses so far from the security personnel. I think as of day before yesterday, we learned that the government of Benue State deployed more military men than soldiers to some of these areas where the insecurity took place. So I want you, on a scale of 1 to 10, how will you rate this response so far from the security personnel pertaining this insecurity issue?
And maybe even the government also to this particular issue, the government of Benue State.
Well, my concern has been over the years on this issue of maybe spontaneous reaction, a particular thing, and then after that we go to sleep.
Go back to our normal lives.
Yes.
Okay.
If we know that these are hot spots, these areas are volatile, we should make sure that the security presence is there permanently.
Permanently, okay.
And not
temporary.
when people have been killed, we now send some people.
Deploy. Okay.
And then after calm has returned, we go back to sleep.
Okay.
Yes, if it means declaring state of emergency in all the volatile areas, please, the government should go ahead. Because by so doing, we'll get to the root of the matter, we'll be able to arrest the sponsors of this insecurity.
I mean, someone said if the federal government could declare state of emergency in Rivers State because of the political crisis, how about Benue State in this insecurity issue, which is even more critical than the political crisis? This, we're talking about lives and properties here. So I think I succumb to that. Let the federal government declare a state of emergency, just like our guest said, in all these, insecurity-prone areas. So you see what you want to say?
Yes. So I'm still talking on what the government should do, and I've heard some people talk about on the issue of police, saying the police and the military, saying that states should have their own security agencies.
Okay.
Yes, we know they are answerable to the federal government, but yet, and there are state police and military agencies in every state, but they are still answerable to the government. But what people are now some people are clamoring for right now, independent state security agencies. Because most of the times when issues like this come up and they need to tackle it, you need to follow a protocol and get from the upper hand before you move.
Exactly.
So what do you think on having an independent state security agency in every state?
That will be the best thing to do. But my concern again is we have a situation that the governors operate the states as if it is their personal fiefdom.
Okay.
If we say, okay, governors establish their state police, before you know it, all their talks, all their, let me use the local parlance, agboros will be there.
Okay.
And they'll use it as an instrument of harassment. Okay. Anybody who is not with them, they'll harass. That is the problem I have with the states. That states have not been able to prove to the nation or to the world that they are capable of managing the security situation. They are capable of delivering an unbiased security apparatus for the particular state.
Okay.
That is one on one hand. On the other hand, I still believe that the federal government can handle the situations. And moreover, by now, every state has militias.
Okay.
So we can now upgrade these militias if we really need that, so that they can be in a situation that they partner with the federal security agencies.
Let me stop you there a little bit. You said upgrade these militias. In what way can these militias be upgraded?
Equip them.
Interest. Okay. Okay.
And make them to become more responsive
Okay.
and more responsible also.
Okay.
All right, so I think we are due for a break right now, and this is getting quite intense for me though. So let's just go on this short breather, and when we return, the discussion will still continue. You are watching Good Morning Africa on Housing TV. Stay tuned.
Get credible and authentic housing news at your fingertips by downloading the Housing TV mobile app. You can also join the African International Housing Show live from across the globe through the Housing TV mobile app. The mobile app features live streaming and trending housing news. You can locate the AIHS venue via the app, network with AIHS seasoned speakers, and live chat with exhibitors. You can also order house or building materials at AIHS via this app. Download the Housing TV mobile app now from the App Store and Google Play Store. And don't forget to click on the notification button. Available for both iOS and Android users. Housing TV is also on Star Times, channel 149 decoder.
Welcome back. If you just joined us, well, you've missed much. But then, still stay tuned because the conversation still continues. Now, Gordon, are there any government policies that you think are making this insecurity issue worse or better? Are there any government policies?
Well, I have not really seen. Okay, one,
Okay.
the issue of high cost of transportation has contributed, because where people are hungry, like we said, people are now beginning to think of some crazy things to do.
Just to survive. Yeah.
Then on the other hand, I see government as not doing enough. See, there are times that you have to stamp your feet. You take, for example, what is happening in the Middle East. For a long time, the whole world has been pleading with Iran, please stop, don't produce nuclear weapons, don't do it. But at a time now, some nations had to act.
Okay.
Yes. Where somebody thinks that he cannot allow you to sleep, you have to act. Where somebody has made the streets that you live to be unsafe, you have to act. Where somebody has given the nation a bad name, some group of people,
Okay.
they take laws into their hands and they believe that they are all that matter. The government has to act. You don't have to wait.
Okay.
You don't have to wait. Or are you waiting until all of us have been slaughtered before you act? That is why we elected government in place. So we'll use this opportunity to call on the government headed by President Tinubu to act now. If it means declaring a state of emergency, please sir, do it now, so that we can get to the root of this matter.
Okay.
Yes.
Before it gets worse, let me chip in something. I think as of yesterday, the General Secretary of United Nations, Antonio Guterres, he was like he was going to look into this insecurity issue in Benue State, as in carrying out thorough investigation to really know the root cause and as well as prefer solution to it. Do you think it's a kind of a good thought, it's a welcoming idea, looking at the present condition?
Yes, it's a good idea.
Okay.
But on the other hand, why do we wait until outsiders
Interfere.
prefer solutions for
Okay.
us? We know that some people have used religion to create problems. These people are not even believers in God.
At all.
They don't believe in God. Because if you look at the Holy Bible, it forbids taking lives, killing the innocents.
That's true.
Even the Quran
Forbids it.
forbids. So now, these people that are doing this, what do they believe in? If they say they believe in, if they are Muslims, then their religion forbids what they are doing.
Okay.
If they say they are Christians, the religion forbids. Even the African traditional religion forbids people taking life anyhow as they like. So, if people now do this, you know that it is beyond religion. It must be politics.
Okay.
It must be ethnic cleansing. Yes, we have to look at it along that line so that we know. Not to begin to play, talk softly. No. Because today is Benue, yesterday was Plateau,
Yeah.
another day could be Abuja.
Yes.
Exactly.
And if we continue like that, before we know, the whole country will become unsafe. And many countries will not like to do business with us anymore.
It will affect every aspect.
Yes. And the whole of West Africa sub-region will be affected.
That's true.
Okay, sir, coming to what should be done and looking at the way forward right now, we have been calling on the government, saying government, and I don't want it to look like we are just looking at the president and governors. I want us to talk about the role the traditional rulers and local chiefs have when it comes to, managing local conflicts and insecurity issues, and also providing information concerning insecurity in their areas, because they are the one closer to the grassroots.
Of course.
Because the president can stand up, the governor can stand up from where he is to go into, they are the ones there. So what role do they have to play? How can they be able to, give better information and work much better? And also let us look at the role that we as citizens, because I believe the country is ours. Where it's one Nigeria, is our own. What role we as citizens can play to be able to tackle the issue of insecurity, how we can contribute our quota.
Yes, like we said earlier on, we follow the principle of be your brother's keeper. I said earlier that we must provide the information, the intelligence. Why we keep mentioning government is that government is the one that has the instrument to really deal with the situation.
Okay.
But the citizens can provide information because these people live among us. When we provide this information, government must act immediately. Yeah. It starts from home. You have a child that is heady, and you keep pampering him. Before you know it, he begins to bully other children around.
Okay.
He keeps saying, oh, that's my boy. Before you know it, he removes somebody's child's eye. And you say, oh, sorry. See, you are not acting. So if in the neighborhood, like I said earlier, you discover some questionable characters, you report to the authority. And when you report, it shouldn't be a situation that after they report tomorrow, people will now visit you and kill you. I have seen such situation before. That the report was made, then after some time, the reporter
These people.
became attacked. So that means that there are some feed columnists, even in the security network, that are not acting on the best interest of government or the people. So the government, it is now the government's role to look into who are these people. Who are these people? And then, so there's no way we will really exclude the government. Yes, the traditional rulers, they can do their part. But do they have the instruments?
Okay.
Do they have the guns? Do they have the police? Do they have the army? They don't have. All what they can do is to provide information and to also speak to their people and ask them to be law-abiding. So we are still in the area of providing information.
Okay, sir, I'd love to cut to you. You just said though they may not have the equipment, and all they can do is provide information. I want us to look at the place of I don't want to say the traditional belief, the traditional practices. Where does it come when it comes to tackling the issue of insecurity? That's, let me say, going diabolical.
You can say that.
Because there are certain cultures, there are certain practices they do when it comes to issue of insecurity in their communities and everything. So What's your take on that? Where does that come in?
Well, what do you call this? We call them traditional rulers.
Rulers.
So they also have their own traditional instruments.
Okay.
They can invoke some beliefs, some taboos, and so on. They can call, but whatever they will do, everything still boils down to providing information, calling on the people, informing the people on the negative aspects of insecurity, and then telling them that henceforth this community will not tolerate. And where you discover some mischievous element, you report. That is what they can do. They cannot put those people to prison. They cannot kill them. It is the government that will do that. So that is a duty. Whether they will invoke the traditional the tribal gods or whatever they will do, all are still in the region of providing information to the people and receiving intelligence back to the government.
And I've also come to realize, I don't know if you both have realized, that most of our security personnel, they find it very difficult to act upon an information that has to do with security, like immediate response. So I feel that our security agencies or personnel should undergo a kind of reorientation. They should be sensitized when it comes to responding, giving a swift response when they receive information that has to do with insecurity,
Because,
and not waiting or wasting time or going through one protocol or the other while lives are still at risk.
Because for me, sometimes when I hear this, I actually get angry, and I'm asking the questions exactly why are they behaving like that? What is the issue? Why are they behaving? They're not responding. And if you look at the recent case of insecurity, the case that's those killings were going on. There wasn't any response. But when they took to the protest, there was an immediate response.
Exactly.
And it brought to my mind, like, wow, we have ammunitions like this. There are so-called ammunitions like this, but yet, that community, which is the 30 minutes drive, they weren't able to respond so swiftly. But this protest where people are coming out to cry out, they were able to come out, and it was really an annoying one. And I kept asking, exactly why do they behave the way they do?
My thinking is that there is a political undertone most of these things. I said earlier, there must be no sacred cows when it comes to the issue of insecurity or facing out insecurity. If there are people that we know that are behind this, we must apprehend them. Yes, we must not spare them.
No one is above the
Because
law.
if we pick one big man, the other one will become afraid. But if we allow sacred cows, if we politicize the insecurity menace, then the nation will not go anywhere. So, like you said, people are making trouble. Authorities don't seem to be listening. But when protests or protesters came to the street, instanta, the security.
responded.
So that means that our security men are effective. But in that situation, there must be something that is hindering them.
Which is?
And that thing has to do with politics. It has to do with protecting certain interests that are unwholesome, certain interests that are inimical to the progress of the nation. It could be a political interest. It could even be a religious interest. But we must be able to get rid of that interest. And whoever is protecting that, it may mean stepping on some toes.
Yeah.
We have to step on those toes and break them.
Okay.
Then the rest will know that it is not business as usual anymore.
In the beginning of the show, you mentioned so many factors that caused or instigated this insecurity prevalence in Nigeria. Now, what do you think the government should prioritize in order to reduce insecurity? What should the government prioritize?
The first one is offenders must be punished in any situation. The government of this country knows who the barons of this insecurity are. If the government say they don't know, then I'm afraid that means we are alone. The government knows. So offenders must be punished.
Okay.
Then there should also be sensitization. We have so many agencies, National Orientation Agency, and so on and so forth, should tell the people. But the number one thing is that we should go in to the root of the matter, apprehend the offenders and punish them. Once that is done, every other person will be careful. For example, if there is a don somewhere that's making trouble, or whose boys are terrorizing the area, once the boys hear that their master have been arrested, they run away, because nobody protects their interests anymore.
That's true.
Those chain of communication that they have, how do they manage it? Do they pass through our what do they call it, national carriers? For example, you make calls. Don't we monitor our information network?
Okay.
People are monitoring. Yes. How do those calls sell through undictated? How do they know somebody is somewhere and they kidnapped, and they begin to call on the families to get the money for ransom? So these are the things that everybody, like I said, must act.
Okay.
Yes, but the moment people are punished and you wear the big stick that anybody that's involved henceforth will be punished, everybody will go down. Everything will go back to normalcy. Yes, that's what I believe.
Okay, thank you very much, sir. Thank you. I think this is where we draw the curtain for today on Good Morning Africa here on Housing TV Africa, and we have been discussing and looking at the way forward when it comes to the issue of insecurity, the rising rate of insecurity here in our country, and we have had a public analyst, Mr. Gordon Atai. Thank you so much for throwing more light on this. We really appreciate it. Thank you for coming, sir.
It was nice having you on the show.
So much.
It was nice. It was really an intense one, and just like a popular saying will go, if you see something, say something. Let's be our brother's keeper.
Exactly.
This work is not just for the government. All hands have to be on deck. Let's come together and work to destroy this particular menace, insecurity, that is causing a very, very eating deep into our society. So keep watching Good Morning Africa, and keep watching Housing TV Africa. Don't forget to follow us on all our social media platforms, and for more updates you can follow us, and you can subscribe to our YouTube channel and download the Housing TV app on Google Play Store and your Apple Store. I remain Dorcas Chair.
Insecurity is an issue, a critical issue in Nigeria that needs to be averted or curbed. Now, it is not a one-man thing. All hands must be involved, be it the federal government, the citizens, traditional rulers, religious leaders. We all have to be involved. Many thanks for watching, and do stay tuned to Housing TV Africa for more news and updates. I am Confidence Ruben. Good morning.